Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday morning. The sun is shining, wind is blowing, but it is still relatively early. It's not even 9. It is starting to warm up, and very shortly I'll be getting out there and doing some planting. But I wanted to talk to you about white privilege. Over the last couple weeks, I've had discussions about the current state of affairs in America, obviously. And one was to a representative on I was calling about my service being out for internet, and there was a lot of wind, and I knew it wasn't on my end. But we wound up talking about something or other, and I made a comment or something. I was like, well, that ain't gonna happen in America until, you know, red is gone and from power. And, I know representative people on the phone, especially, for companies or something, they can't, or like when you call representative or senators' offices, they can't speak about certain things while they're on the job, which, I get. I get. Um, um, but I said something that, yeah, I'm gearing up for the protest on the 14th of June, and I said something about white privilege. I said I'm a 62-year-old white woman. I mean, I am not the top of the privilege ladder by any means, um, in Republicans' eyes, because I'm a woman, so that's a strike against me. I'm low income due to disability, that's two more strikes against me. So I might be white, but I'm a woman, I'm low income because of a disability, because of an accident a few decades ago with the foot, um, and the wrist and the back. But I still have some white privilege just by being white, even though oh yeah, four strike. I'm a woman, but I'm not. I'm past childbearing age. So if you're a woman that can't have children, in the Republican eyes, you may as well just be a person of color. Um, but nonetheless, regardless of the fact that I'm not fully able like I used to be, the fact that I'm a woman who is past bearing children, the fact that I'm low income because of, the first thing, I still do have some white privilege just by the fact of this right here. And I don't take that lightly, especially because in the communities I've lived in have a lot of brown and black folks, families, and the way I see it is as little white privilege as I have compared to others of the white persuasion, I still have some. And whatever I have, I do and fully intend to continue using to protect the people of color and to protect those that are being bullied by the Republicans and other people. The trans, the LGBTQ, like I said, the brown, the black, other women, um, children, animals. Use your white privilege for those, to assist those who don't possess white privilege and will never possess white privilege because they aren't white. That's how I feel about having privilege. If you have a privilege over other people that help you advance your life the way you want to, and it prevents others from doing the same because they don't have that white privilege, you need to use it to help those who don't have that privilege. See, people are screaming now because the reason they don't like equality for everybody is they scream that, oh, I'm being repressed now, I'm being penalized. You still have all your rights. You just aren't happy that other people have your rights now, because now, when you've been privileged your entire life, when other people get the same privilege, no privilege is taken from you. You still get to do all you get to do. You've been allowed to do. But other people that haven't had that privilege are now being allowed also to attain where you are. Suddenly, you don't like that. And that's only because you like being special and better, or you like the idea that you're better than somebody else because you're white and they're tan. And I find it very interesting that Caucasian people, and it's usually the ones that are the most vocal about being against people of color, saying they're inferior, all this stuff, are usually the ones that spray tan, sit in the sun, sit in the tanning beds, trying to look darker, while you insult and degrade the people that are darker than you. Is all that racial hatred just jealousy because you don't have much color in your skin and you look kind of washed out without makeup? Is that what this prejudice is? Is this what this, bias is? Is that what racism is? You're jealous? Because it's interesting. You also get Botox to make your lips fuller, like black people generally naturally have. Seems to be a pattern. You insult and degrade people with darker skin, and then you spend tons of money and time trying to get your own skin darker. You insult and degrade black people who naturally usually have fuller lips. A lot of Hispanic people too, I've noticed, because I lived 32 years in Arizona, Tucson, an hour and a half from the border, an hour from the border. I mean, seriously. You can get to the border of Mexico from Tucson faster than you can get from Tucson to Phoenix. And then you spend all the money and upkeep of making your lips bigger. This is what I don't get. And yet you'd say how disgusting they are. And and the other thing is now the BBLs, the big asses. Come on, we all know that genetically, a lot of times, black women have large butts. That's just, it's just a genealogy type of thing. It's true, certain races of people sometimes have certain proclivities to getting a certain trait. That's just science. I mean, But you spend all your money and time trying to get darker, trying to get fuller butts, trying to get fuller lips. Everything that you disparage and insult about people of color, you try to attain for yourself. What does that tell you about those people? Maybe they hate themselves, or they're jealous that people of color don't need to do those things usually to get that look. I, I've never heard anybody talk about that, but I'm serious. The people that blast black people and blast brown people, blast Asian people, they are the ones that are trying to get their eyes that do that lift, that have that, they call it the cat eye look. Looks suspiciously like veering to the Asian look, and yet you insult them. You want to look like them, but with certain traits you find attractive, but yet you never say that. You just mean out of your mouth. Just, insults, rage, just, flying out of your mouth. Not once do you say, but they do have nice lips usually. I mean, anything, but you can't give one iota to them. And I find that very, not only sick, but you got some emotional and mental hangups. You do, because you insult the very things about someone that you then spend money to try to replicate on yourself. Explain to me how that sounds normal. You bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch about them, and then you try to emulate looking like them. Why? Why? Anybody? Now, with that being said, again, use your white privilege. In the area I live in, a lot of brown and black people of color, more so than white people, I believe. And the last place I lived at was the same. But and there was a few places in Tucson too. Um, but if you have any kind of white privilege, you should be using it to help the people of color who don't have that. Um, Something I've told the people around here. If they happen to see anybody who dressed like ice dresses, in the black, you'll be able to tell if there's several in different areas that are all, they don't look like they belong here. They look out, and they're acting very nonchalant. At first, um, when they're getting ready to converge on a person or something, you can usually tell that, what is he doing? What's she doing? It's the springtime. Why are they all in head to toe black? Kind of thing. I said, if you guys ever see that and you're getting in your car, getting out of your car, you're outside your apartment, whatever, and we happen to see that. I said, if I'm around and I see that too, and then you see a crazy white woman come running out of her apartment and making a big scene, maybe throw myself on the ground, the crazy, it'll be rainbow in a couple weeks. I just gotta wait till I get my direct deposit so I can bleach it. I don't have any more bleach. But I said, if you ever see me coming out of my apartment carrying on and, like, you know, trying to get attention, yelling about something or whatever, acting weird, um, if there's nobody around, I probably need help. But if I'm making a scene, immediately kind of like glance around. Stop what you're doing and glance around. If you see anybody, several people in different areas that are all dressed in black, they look, you see a black vehicle that doesn't look familiar or something like that, and you see me carrying on, that is me trying to get the attention. And being an older woman, people say I don't look or sound like 62, but I am. If I make a scene, because I did take drama in school, if I make a scene, that is me giving you those few precious seconds that it takes them to look at the sound and then go back to what they were doing. Those few seconds may be all they need to get back in the car and get the fuck out of there, or get in their house and lock the door and do not fucking answer it until they're all gone. Okay? That's what I'm doing. And whenever I tell somebody that I haven't mentioned before, mentioned it to, and I tell them what I just told you, if you see me doing that, that's me trying to give you a notice and a few seconds to hide your fucking self, man. In case they're, And I'm going to state that they have a hard-on for. They want to flip us red. They said they want to flip us red. And they're really doing their damnedest to flip us red. And I won't have it. Not on my fucking watch. And any of you out there that have that white privilege, even if it's a little iota of it, you shouldn't be having it either. You can do something. That's a civil disobedience just because you're deliberately trying to distract them. But they don't need to know that it's being deliberate. You act the best fucking acting job you can do, where you go back in that house or wherever and you pat yourself on the back for that award-winning scene. That's what I want to see. When you see ICE around, if there's people of color in the area, which they wouldn't be there if there aren't, you do what you can to keep their attention off of anything but you. You be the most narcissistic fucking person in the world at that moment for those few seconds. And you say, everybody look at me, look at me, look at me, woo! Do whatever you fucking can, because I plan to. Not being obvious, but absolutely, I'll come out like I'm rushing out with my walker. I obviously will, trying to get down the stairs, and I'll act like I'm full. It's like, help me, I hurt myself. Make a fucking scene so everybody looks up and sees who's out there looking for people. And you bet your fucking ass I will do that if I dare see any ICE where I am. I absolutely fucking will. And now that I've given you all that idea, I hope every single one of you that believes in the Constitution agrees to do the same for those around you. That is what the white privilege should be being used for in 2025. And only that, to help the people of color save themselves or improve themselves through you and your white privilege. That's what should be overtaking this country. Peace out.